So we have all read, or at least, heard of the classic underdog prodigy story.
Oh, definitely. It's a classic for a reason.
Right. You know the exact archetype we're talking about here. You have this staggeringly brilliant, effortlessly charming kid from a really humble background.
The one who defies literally every odd to reach the absolute pinnacle of academic success.
Exactly. And today, we are taking a deep dive into a stack of sources that, well, it perfectly executes this exact trope.
Yeah, specifically looking at the opening chapter and the author's highly detailed meta-introduction for this alternate universe novel called God of Acting.
But, and this is important, our mission for this deep dive isn't just to, celebrate a heartwarming story. Our mission today is to dissect a trap.
It is a brilliantly constructed trap at that. I mean, the author builds an illusion so impenetrable, so universally appealing, that you almost want to ignore the glaring warning label slapped right on the cover.
Yes, exactly. And that warning label is what makes this whole thing so fascinating. Here's where it gets really interesting. The author explicitly tells us, the readers, right up front in the meta intro document, that this sweet, deeply devoted son we meet in Chapter 1 is eventually going to become the, quote, most terrifying entity of all.
Which is just a wild pivot.
Right?
Right.
We are promised this massive genre bait and switch. We're told this feel-good story will eventually plunge into psychological horror, high-stakes mystery, and technological warfare.
Yeah, but if you just read those opening scenes in the Sharma family's kitchen in Chandni Chowk, you'd think you were reading a completely wholesome family drama.
You really would. It feels so cozy.
Which is exactly why we need to look at the mechanics of how the author sets this up. I mean, we know the basic plot points.
Right. Anyone who follows this knows Anant Sharma secured an all-India rank of 8 air, 8 anti-Indian in the brutally difficult JEE advanced exams.
Yeah, entirely through self-study at, was it table number 4 of his dad's chaotic restaurant?
Table number 4.
Right. But we need to stop looking at what he did and start analyzing how the author uses those specific details to manipulate our perception of his psychology.
Okay, let's unpack this, because right out of the gate at 4 a.m., we get this highly specific scene.
The kitchen scene.
Yeah. We're in Anant's kitchen, formerly the Sharma family restaurant. You've got his 45-year-old dad, Rashesh, his mom, Meera, and his 11-year-old sister, Anjali. And Anant is arguing with his father about the chai masala.
At 4 a.m.
At 4 a.m., he is insisting that the cardamom absolutely must be freshly crushed to achieve the proper, quote, depth of flavor.
Which is such a great detail.
It is. Now, on a surface reading, this just establishes him as, a helpful, dedicated son with his cute passion for cooking. He's up early helping out.
Right. But look closer at the mechanism of that actual interaction. This isn't just a kid helping out. This is a hyper-intelligent teenager demonstrating a literal obsession with optimizing inputs to control an exact output.
Oh, wow.
He is micromanaging his environment. He understands that a slight variance in the preparation of a single spice fundamentally alters the end product.
And that's not just about tea.
No, exactly. That is the exact same underlying logic required to debug a complex sorting algorithm. And crucially, it's the exact same logic required to construct a flawless, manipulative persona later on.
So it's algorithmic precision, just applied to a kitchen counter.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just a culinary quirk. It's a demonstration of his foundational worldview. He optimizes everything.
Which is what makes his next major life choice seem completely contradictory.
Right, because we know he secures this legendary AR-8 rank. He has his pick of any institution in the country, and he deliberately turns down IIT Bombay.
Which is universally acknowledged in this universe as the ultimate destination for computer science.
Yeah, the absolute peak. But he turns it down to attend IIT Delhi. And his stated reason for doing this.
Let me guess.
So he can come home every Friday to Sunday to help his parents and perfect his fusion paneer tikka recipe.
And how did you read that choice initially?
I mean, honestly, I read it like the ultimate Asian parent's dream scenario.
Oh, for sure.
Like, he's a verified genius. The text says he's 6'1". He looks like he belongs on a GQ cover with these sharp cheekbones and his athletic frame from Kalari and yoga, and he wears his dark hair in a knot.
Right. He's basically perfect.
And he is so unfathomably devoted to his family that he sacrifices the ultimate prestige just to stay grounded and help his parents. It feels like the ultimate act of humility, He even credits them for giving him freedom instead of pressure.
Well, what's fascinating here is I would actually argue it is the complete opposite of humility.
Wait, really? How so?
Think about the psychology of prestige. People clamor for IIT Bombay because they need the institution's brand to validate their intelligence to the world.
Okay, yeah. They need the stamp of approval.
Right. They need the system to confer status upon them. So Anant turning it down isn't humility. It is an assertion of absolute terrifying autonomy.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
He is essentially saying, I do not need your apex institution to validate my genius. I am the baseline.
Wow.
Yeah. By choosing IIT Delhi to stay close to his family's restaurant, he isn't just being a good son. He is actively curating his environment to maintain his psychological anchor and his total independence from external validation.
He rejects the traditional prestige ladder because he knows he can build his own elevator. That completely changes how I view the character.
It's a totally different framing.
It really is. You see this hyper-calculated perfection in the kitchen,
Yeah.
and you have to wonder how that adapts to a new environment. Because the second he steps onto the IIT Delhi campus for the orientation ceremony, that meticulously controlled worldview hits a fundamentally different system.
Oh, absolutely. He enters the lecture hall complex, and he is suddenly surrounded by the 0.01% of academic achievers.
The absolute elite.
Right. This is a highly calculated, fiercely competitive, metric-driven ecosystem.
And the whispers have already started.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who he is. He sits down next to Priya Malhotra, who is brilliant in her own right. She got AIR 47.
Which is incredible on its own.
Right. And she is just staring at him, telling him about all these Quora threads dedicated to analyzing his perfect math scores and near-perfect physics scores.
She represents the standard brute force method of success in this world.
Yeah, she expects to bond over rigid study schedules, sleep deprivation, and just endless mock tests. But Anant just shatters her entire framework.
Yes, and notice how he shatters it. He doesn't just say he studied differently. He introduces a completely alien philosophy to her.
He tells her that learning shouldn't be about killing yourself. It should be driven by joy and curiosity.
Which must sound crazy to someone who just grinded for years.
Totally. He tells her he viewed chemistry like cooking, combining elements to create something entirely new, and mathematics is simply finding beautiful patterns. To him, learning isn't a mechanical grind. It's an art form.
Right.
But let me push back here for a second.
Hmm.
Is it really just joy? Or is it that his brain operates at such a high level of pattern recognition that what feels like a brutal grind to Priya is just basic intuition to him?
That is precisely the friction. Priya is memorizing the textbook. Anant is reading the underlying matrix.
Ah, I like that.
When he compares chemistry to cooking, he's revealing how his mind works. He maps new, incredibly complex domains onto systems he has already mastered.
Like the cardamom.
Exactly like the cardamom. And because he operates from first principles rather than rote memorization, he possesses a kind of intellectual fluidity that the other students simply cannot comprehend.
Which brings us to the moment that really sets his trajectory in motion.
The speech.
Yes. The IIT director calls the top 3 rankers up to the stage during orientation. You've got Rahul Verma, Sneha Krishnan, and Anant. And the director puts him on the spot, publicly asking why he chose Delhi over Bombay.
A very loaded question.
Extremely. Now, Anant could have given a slick PR-friendly answer. Instead, he drops that same raw honesty, talking about staying connected to his roots.
And the reaction from the crowd is massive.
It is. This room full of cynical, ultra-competitive teenagers gives him a genuine roaring round of applause.
And we have to analyze the mechanism of that applause. Why does his quote-unquote authenticity completely disarm that specific crowd?
Why do you think it does?
Because in a hyper-competitive system built entirely on metrics, percentiles, and cutthroat ambition, raw vulnerability is an unmapped variable.
Oh, that's a great way to put it. An unmapped variable.
Yeah. They have defenses for arrogance. They have defenses for false modesty. They have absolutely zero defense against someone who simply stands up and speaks a grounding emotional truth.
He essentially bypasses their intellectual firewalls using emotional authenticity.
Yeah.
And it works perfectly.
It really does.
But it's what he sees from that stage, while they're all clapping for him, that changes everything. He spots this partially hidden poster for Akahi, the Delhi Dramatic Society, advertising an open house at Dogra Hall.
This is the critical pivot in the narrative, and at first glance, it defies all conventional logic.
It really does, because we already know his new roommate, Karthik, from Chennai, is like obsessed with the gender ratio and Anant's popularity, and he's pushing Anant toward the coding club.
Which makes total sense for an Air 8 CS major.
Right. And Anant actually goes to the coding club that morning. We know he completely floors the coordinator, Rohan, by debugging this insanely complex sorting algorithm in literally minutes.
Instantly.
Yeah. Rohan tells him he's already wasted in the first year. He has nothing left to prove in that domain. But despite his absolute mastery of code, Anant is inexorably drawn to that theater open house.
Yeah, he can't stay away.
It's like a world-class chess player suddenly deciding they want to be a ballet dancer. Why is this guy, who sees algorithms in his sleep, drawn to a stage?
Because the technological domain offers him zero friction. It is too easy. If we connect this to the bigger picture of the God of Acting universe, Anant is seeking the one thing pure logic lacks.
Emotional resonance.
Exactly. During the open house, when the theater president Aisha asks him why he's there, what's he say? He explicitly states that while science and technology can solve the world's problems, they cannot make people care about those problems.
He realizes that logic provides the solution, but emotion provides the execution.
Precisely. He recognizes a fundamental limitation in his own toolkit. He can hack a computer, but to truly enact change or to amass the kind of power the author warns us about, he needs administrative privileges to human behavior.
Wow. Administrative privileges to human behavior.
Right. He didn't wander into Dogger Hall to learn how to feel. He went there to discover the source code of human vulnerability.
So to someone with his analytical mind, empathy isn't just a warm emotion.
No. Empathy is an exploit path.
Empathy as an exploit path. That is a chilling way to frame it, but it fits the author's warning perfectly.
Yeah.
So he walks into Dogger Hall, which is just buzzing with raw theatrical energy.
And we meet the seniors running the show.
Yeah, Vivek, the fourth-year mechanical engineer, and Aisha, the third-year physics student who serves as president. Anant stands in the back and watches a scene about rural farmers facing drought, and then a monologue about a woman defying societal expectations.
He's just transfixed.
Completely. He sees the sheer power of storytelling. He sees how a narrative makes an audience physically react.
And that is when his purely analytical background collides head-on with performance.
Right. He steps out of the shadows. The room already knows who he is, of course, the Error 8 genius. Yeah. And he asks Aisha a very revealing question. How do they choose their stories?
He says empathy is needed for change.
Yes. He isn't asking about acting techniques. He's asking for the parameters of their system.
And Aisha is intrigued by him, obviously, and she challenges him.
She invites him to join on Kahi right then and there, provided he can pass an impromptu audition. No preparation, no script, just get on the stage and make them feel something.
And what he does next is an absolute masterclass in social engineering.
Break down the mechanics of his audition for us. What does he choose to do?
Well, he doesn't try to be a theater kid. He doesn't put on a dramatic voice or use big sweeping gestures. He strips away all the artifice. He just stands there and tells the exact same true story we read in the first scene.
The story of his father's restaurant.
Exactly. But it's the details he selects that are so fascinating.
Like the curling posters.
Right. He describes the old Bollywood posters curling at the edges from the heat. He talks about the wobbling ceiling fan. He mentions the complex physics equations he would scratch in pencil on the margins of his order notebook.
And he talked about the poetry in his mother stirring doll.
Yes. And how his parents understand a truth that an elite IIT degree simply cannot teach. The courage to be true to yourself. He literally labels this kind of storytelling Amar Chitrakala eternal art.
It is a devastatingly effective performance because it is perfectly calibrated to its audience.
Let's look at the data points he selected. He used the curling posters and the wobbling fan to trigger sensory immersion.
Right.
But the absolute masterstroke is mentioning the physics equations in the margins. He deliberately juxtaposed his two worlds, the humble, chaotic restaurant and the elite, high-level intellect.